What's up, my friends? This is all of my monsters greeting you once again, and here I am back on your favorite channel, Filomania, a universe entirely dedicated to collectible pocket knives from every corner of the world. Today, on the screen, we have in front of us nothing less than an absolute classic. A knife that never has a dull moment, a piece that stands above trends and eras. If I had to compare it to something, I'd say it's the Rolls-Royce of folding knives. It's timeless, refined, and iconic. The Chris Reeve Sebenza 31 Large, the full-size version. Now, within the knife collecting world, this piece holds a special place. It's highly respected and deeply valued, not only because of its price tag, but because of the philosophy behind its design. The Sebenza represents a kind of pure simplicity and practical elegance that only Chris Reeve himself has managed to perfect. At first glance, it looks like a straightforward, almost minimalist knife. But don't let the clean lines fool you. This is a blade built with purpose, crafted entirely in the United States, more specifically in Idaho, as proudly marked right here. And yes, if you look closely, you'll see it, 100% made in the USA. This particular version comes equipped with one of the most talked about and sought after steels in today's market, CPM Magnacut. In 2025, Magnacut is considered one of the absolute top-tier steels available for knife making. Why? Because it strikes a rare balance, exceptional corrosion resistance, incredible hardness, and the ability to hold a razor-sharp edge for an extended period of time. Simply put, this steel lets your knife stay sharp and reliable far longer than most, with little need for resharpening. And as you can see here, the blade features a beautiful satin finish, giving it that elegant, refined look. The locking mechanism? A frame lock, classic and robust, exactly as you'd expect from a knife of this pedigree. The handle is crafted from titanium, but what makes this knife fascinating are the small details, the subtle differences that set it apart. If you take a closer look, you'll notice that the frame lock side of the titanium has been treated differently than the rest of the body. The lock bar has more of a subdued, matte appearance. I'd describe it as a bead-blasted or even a kind of working finish. This process gives the titanium a slightly darker tone, reducing the shine and making it look more discreet and tool-like. In contrast, the other titanium surfaces carry that familiar look we often associate with the Sebenza line. A smoother, brighter satin finish that resembles polished steel. It's subtle, but it's exactly in these kinds of contrasts where you appreciate Chris Reeve's philosophy. The quality is always in the small details. The pocket clip follows the same treatment as the frame lock, maintaining that bead-blasted texture. And just to clarify, when I say bead-blasted, I'm referring to the process itself. A high-pressure gun shoots a stream of extremely fine media, almost like microsand, against the titanium surface. The result is a soft, matte finish with a darker, more uniform color that resists fingerprints and wear marks. But the story doesn't end with metal. This particular Sebenza combines metallurgy and nature in a way that's really striking. The inlays are made of oak wood, real, fine oak. And just by mentioning oak, you can imagine the character it brings, a noble, durable wood that has been prized for centuries. Here, it gives the knife a very refined personality, sober, elegant, and perfectly balanced against the titanium frame. The wood inlays themselves are a deep, rich brown, and if you look closely, you can see the natural grain lines running through them. Maybe the camera doesn't fully capture it here, but with the naked eye, those veins are clear, giving it that unmistakable look of authentic wood. Not only does it add beauty, it also enhances the ergonomics of the knife. Holding it feels incredibly comfortable, smooth, soft to the touch, and undeniably elegant. This combination of natural wood and premium metal really makes you feel like you're handling something on par with a Mercedes-Benz or an Audi. It's that same philosophy of blending cutting-edge engineering with refined materials to deliver an experience that's both luxurious and highly functional. That's exactly what makes the Chris Reeve Sebenza such a classic. As I mentioned earlier, this is a frame lock, and it operates via a thumb stud. In this case, you only get a single stud on one side rather than a dual setup. The stud itself is titanium, but it's been bronze-anodized, giving it a beautiful, warm finish. That little detail ties perfectly into the knife's overall color palette, subtle, sober, and serious, but with just enough contrast to make it visually striking. Out of the box, the Sebenza comes with a standard lanyard, and normally, I'm not someone who's big on lanyards, but in this case, I kept it. Why? Because it's part of the original factory setup, and I wanted to respect the maker's design language. These machines are not just working with soft metals, they're cutting through titanium and premium steels, materials that are notoriously hard to machine. This knife is built with such incredible precision that it practically guarantees reliable operation for many, many years. And that, right there, is one of the main reasons why the Chris Reeve Sebenza has earned its legendary status. Of course, beyond durability, the other hallmark is its design. If you look closely, there's a gentle rise along the spine, almost like a small hump that remains very low profile. On the back of the blade, you'll also notice jimping, placed exactly where your thumb naturally rests for added control. Then, down near the lock bar, there's a small cutout designed for your thumb to disengage the frame lock. But here's where it gets interesting. That same cutout also doubles as a point of traction for your index finger. When you push against it, your finger naturally locks in, giving you just a bit of extra grip and preventing your hand from sliding either forward or backward. In terms of ergonomics, the handle scales are long enough to let me fit all 4 fingers comfortably in place. And once you have that full purchase, it feels rock solid, like the knife is truly an extension of your hand. Now, let's get into something many of you have probably heard before. Despite being a knife crafted with extremely tight tolerances, the Sebenza has occasionally been the subject of debate in the knife community. The action of the Sebenza. This is not a knife known for quick, snappy deployment. If you're looking for that flick-open, fidget-friendly style of knife, the Sebenza may not be what you're after. Its opening is deliberate, smooth, and controlled, almost meditative. And that's by design. Chris Reeve didn't build the Sebenza to be flashy or dynamic, in the way a flipper or assisted opener might be. Instead, he engineered it to embody reliability and consistency every single time you use it. When it comes to deployment, the Sebenza is, without question, a slow opener. As you can see here, it's not like the modern folders where just a slight push on the flipper tab sends the blade flying out effortlessly. No, with the Sebenza, you need to apply a little more deliberate pressure, and that's not an accident, it was designed this way on purpose. Now, I know for some collectors, this can be a deal breaker. A lot of people are drawn to knives that are buttery smooth, easy to flick open and shut, drop shut action, fidget friendly, all that good stuff. But Chris Reeve took the opposite approach. He said, I'm not going to build a knife that prioritizes speed, I'm going to build a knife that prioritizes stability and longevity. That's why the Sebenza isn't one of those drop-shut knives where a light shake closes the blade instantly. Instead, the action feels a little firmer, a little more deliberate. There's also something worth pointing out, the detent. You can feel it right at the end of the deployment arc, that small, controlled resistance that acts almost like a mechanical checkpoint before the blade fully engages. Another key detail, the Sebenza doesn't ride on modern ball bearings. Instead, it uses phosphor bronze washers. These washers are known for wearing in over time, not wearing out. As they slowly smooth with use, the action gets a touch easier, but never to the point of becoming sloppy or unstable. And that's exactly the philosophy here, reliability over flashiness. Of course, this design choice has split opinions. Some collectors see it as a flaw, especially considering the high price point of a Sebenza. They want speed, they want that drop-shut fidget factor, and the Sebenza doesn't deliver that. But for others, including myself, this is part of the appeal. In a serious knife collection, it's important to appreciate different schools of design philosophy. Not every knife has to be fast or flashy. Some are built to last, to remain solid tools for decades. So yes, the Sebenza is slower, but it's deliberately slow. And that's because Chris Reeve designed it not to be a toy, but to be a tool, a knife that will stay stable and functional for a lifetime. Instead of running on ball bearings, the Sebenza uses phosphor bronze washers. These washers slowly wear in over time, not out, which means the action gets a touch smoother as you use it, but it never becomes sloppy the way some bearing-driven knives eventually do. Now, I know for some collectors this is seen as a flaw, especially considering the high price point of a Sebenza. As for carry, I'd call it pretty standard. In pocket, it doesn't feel like a brick, and it doesn't disappear either, it just sits like a solid EDC should. At around 4.4 ounces, or roughly 125 grams, it's right in that sweet spot where you always know it's there, but it never becomes uncomfortable or heavy. Balanced, practical, and exactly what you'd expect from a knife of this pedigree. I've had this piece in my rotation for almost a year now, and let me tell you, I haven't treated it like a safe queen. This isn't a knife that's been sitting in a Pelican case just to keep it mint. I've actually carried it, used it, and put it through real work. And the verdict? Respect. Absolute respect. It's a high-end tool, yes, but also a knife you can actually trust to perform. Like we'd say in my home country, this blade never folds under pressure. It hasn't failed me once. No blade play, no lock rock, no lock stick, no issues with centering, nothing. The action may not be drop shut or fidgety like the latest bearing-driven flippers, but that's not the point. This knife is dialed in for consistency and longevity. That's the CRK philosophy. No hype, no gimmicks, just execution and tolerances on another level. And that's why within the community, the Sebenza has earned its status as a grail knife and a gold standard EDC. For many collectors, it's the yardstick against which other premium folders are measured. Whether you're into customs, mid-techs, or production knives, at some point everything gets compared to a Sebenza. So that wraps it up for today's review. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. From me and all my monsters here at Filomania, thank you for sticking around until the end. Wishing you sharp edges, smooth action, and the best vibes for the week ahead no matter when you're watching this. Stay safe, enjoy your carries, and as always, peace. Big hug. Ciao, ciao.